So this is 3-2. It's the second part of your notes. So we're going to go over two word problems, and I'm going to show you a little shortcut in your calculator. So the first one, okay, it says Enrique uses a gift card to buy coffee at a coffee shop. The initial value of the gift card is $20. The function n equals 20 minus 2.75c represents the amount of money still left on the gift card n after purchasing c cups of coffee. Find the zero. So again, I want you to go ahead and underline that word and describe its meaning in the context of this situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a table. So here's my little X, Y table. And we're going to use the values that we have in our graph. So our graph goes from 0 all the way to 12. So we're going to go ahead and put 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Okay, we're going to go ahead and type this into our calculator. Instead of n, remember that's going to be your y. Instead of c, that's going to be our x. So I'm going to go ahead and get my calculator. Go back to y equals, clear all that stuff out, and we're going to go ahead and type that equation in. So we have 20 minus, we have 2.75, and don't forget your x. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our table. So hit second graph. And remember, we're going from 0, so I'm going to move this down some. We're going from 0 all the way to 12. So starting with 0, we have 0, 20, we have 2, and then 14.5, 4, 9, 6, 3.5, 8, negative 2, 10, and so on. So over here, we're going to go ahead and fill that out. So at 0, we're at 20. At 2, we were at 14.5. At 4, we're at 9. 6 is 3.5. 8 is at negative 2. 10 is at negative 7.5. 12 is at negative 13. Okay, so I just copied these numbers down off of your table. Now, let's talk about what this means in terms of our equation right here. So let's pretend you have a gift card. Okay, if you spent if you didn't buy any coffee, you have $20 on your gift card. So that's your initial amount. That's how much we had to start with. So over here on my graph, I didn't buy any coffees. I have $20 to start with. Okay. After I bought 2 coffees, I have $14.50 left. So 2 coffees is $14.50, kind of about right in the middle. Okay, when I bought 4 coffees, I had $9 left. So 4 coffees, a little bit above your 8. When I bought 6 coffees, I had $3.50 left over. So a little bit below the 4. And then when I bought 8 coffees, I'm down here at negative 2. So that we know is not even possible because you can't have a negative balance on a gift card. So somewhere between 6 and 8 is all the copies that I can buy. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots as pretty as I can. Okay, draw my arrow. Now here is the problem. When it says find the 0, okay, we can't just take a guess and say, oh, somewhere between 6 and 8. We can't look at our table because let's go back to our calculator. Let's look at your table real quick. If you notice, okay, at 7 we're at 0.75, at 8 we're at negative 2. You're looking for your 0. Your 0 has to be in that Y column. We cannot see it in our table. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to look at our graph. So hit your graph. Hopefully, there we go. Okay, so my 0 is right here. And I'm going to show you, we're going to write out the steps of what you can hit in the calculator to give you that answer without having to do a whole lot of math. So let's go ahead and write down our steps. So I'm going to write them above here. So your steps are going to be second trace. So make sure you write this down and then we'll walk through it. So second trace. Then we're going to hit the number 2. And number 2 says 0 beside it. And then you're going to have to do 3 steps. One of them is going to be your left bound, which means you get your little blinky on the left side. So once you do that, then you're going to hit enter. Then on the bottom, it will say right bound. So move your blinky to the right side of that 0 and hit enter. And then the last thing it's going to say is guess. And then you hit enter. After you do this, what's going to happen is that it's going to give you your answer. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, it'll say 0 equals some number. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through those steps. So go back to your calculator, and so you should have these steps written down. Okay, in our calculator, we're going to go to second trace. Then we're going to go to number 2 for 0. Okay, so here it says left bound. So what you have to do is you got to move your blinky. Right now my blinky is up here at x equals 0. So it's somewhere up here. I need to move it over because I want it to be on the left side of this point. So I'm going to hit my little arrow. I'm going to keep hitting my little arrow until I see my blinky come down. So notice it's at x equals 1, x equals 2, x equals almost 3. Keep hitting your blinky. There's my blinky. Keep going. Okay, so keep moving your blinky. And if you start noticing that your x values are a negative number, your blinky is on the wrong side. Okay, so you want your x to get close to that 7. So I'm on the left side of my 0, so I'm going to hit enter. Then it says right bound, so I'm going to keep hitting my little blinky over. Okay, so now I'm on the right side of that point. I'm going to hit enter. Then it says guess. You don't have to move your blinky at all. You just hit enter. And so here's my 0. So my 0 is x equals 7.2727273. I'm just going to round that to x equals 7.27. So on my little paper, okay, I'm going to write down x equals 7.27. Okay, and then we're going to write out what that means. So what that means, we're going to put here the 0 is 7.27, 0, which means Enrique cannot buy more than 7 cups of coffee. Okay, so if you think about this, you don't ever hear anybody walking into Starbucks and saying, yes, I like to order 7.27 cups of coffee. Okay, because that just doesn't even make sense. You have to order cups of coffee in whole numbers. He does not have enough money on his gift card to get him 8, because if you look, to buy 8 cups of coffee, he would have to owe them -2. Or sorry, he'd have to owe them $2. Okay, so the most that he can buy is 7 cups. Our 0 is right there at 7.27, which we were right, because when we guessed, we said it should be somewhere between 6 and 8. So there's our 0. Okay, we got one more like this. Baby shower. Okay, so Madison wants to buy favors for her sister's baby shower. The function b equals 80 minus 3.22n represents her budget b left after n favors are purchased. Find the 0 and describe its meaning in the context of the situation. Don't worry about this last part, to identify the domain and range. You just go ahead and mark that part out. We'll come back to that later. Okay, so all we're focusing on right now is to find the 0. So again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a table. So here's x, here's y. My x values, okay, I'm looking at my graph to help me out with what x values I should use. So my x values, we're going to go from 0 all the way to 30. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Okay, here's my equation. So I'm going to rewrite that over here. So my equation is y equals 80 minus 3.22x. So we're going to go ahead, put this into y equals, and we're going to fill in our table. So go ahead right now, go to your y equals. Oops. There we go. Go to your y equals, clear everything out, type that in. So we have 80 minus, so 80 minus 3.22x. And we're going to go to our table. So second graph. Here's my table. And remember, we're only looking at certain numbers for my x values. So first is 0. So there's my 0. So I have 0, 80. So 0, 80. If you look at your table right now, at 5, it should be 63.9. Okay, you can scroll down in your table, or actually on my table I can see it's 47.8 for 10. So 47.8. Scroll down for 15, it should be 31.7. 20 is 15.6. Okay, 25 is negative 0.5. And you can copy the one for 30, but I know I'm not even going to use this point because here I already have a negative, and for my y values, I should not go past 0. Okay, because what that means when you start getting negatives, when we're talking about money here, okay, it tells you right here this is her budget. So if it's a negative, that means that she's going over her budget. We don't want her to go over her budget. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to plot these points. So I have 0, 80. So 0, 80. Now remember, that's what we're starting with. So that is how much money she's starting with, is $80. If she bought 5 favors, she would have 63.9 left over, so that's almost 64. If she bought 10 favors, she would have 47.8, so almost to 50. 15 is 31.7, so right above 30. 20 is 15.6, so right in the middle. And then 25, she's below 0. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and connect our dots. Okay. And we know that the answer has to be somewhere between 20 and 25. So my 0, okay, right here, how many favors she can buy is more than 20 but less than 25, and just a little bit less than 25. So let's go ahead and go back to our calculator. Okay, go ahead and hit your graph. And remember, if you can't see your graph, we're going to have to zoom out. So you're going to hit zoom 3 and then hit enter. See if we can see anything, and I'm waiting right here for that to stop. Okay, so here's my line. My 0 is right here where it crosses the x-axis. And we're just going to follow those same exact steps that we did last time. So we're going to hit second trace. We're looking at our 0, so number 2. Okay, left bound. So right now, my blinky is at x equals 0. That's way up here. I'm going to have to move it all the way down to be on the left side of this point. So I'm going to go ahead and keep hitting that arrow over. Okay, so there's my blinky. Move it on down. So remember, it's really close to 25, but not all the way to 25. So anywhere on the left side. Okay, so right now it's at 23. That's good enough. You hit enter. Then it says right bound. So that means I have to be on the right side of this. So I need to go past the 25. And keep hitting my blinky. Make sure you go below your x-axis to be on the right side. Then I'm going to hit enter. Then it says guess. So I'm going to hit enter one more time. And my answer down here is 24.84472. So I'm just going to leave it as 24.8. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here, and we're going to write this out in a nice little sentence. So the 0 is 24.8, comma 0. Okay, which means Madison cannot buy more than 24 favors. Okay, because if she does buy more than 24 favors, then she's going to go over her budget. Okay, remember, when you buy favors, when you buy coffees, when you buy cookies, cupcakes, whatever they're talking about, has to be a whole number. Okay, she can't go buy 24.8 favors. That doesn't make sense. So you have to have a whole number. If she has 25, you can even look right here on your table. If she bought 25 favors, she's going over, okay, by 50 cents. So she cannot buy any more than 24 favors. All right, and that's it for your part 2 notes.